Welcome to Her Own Boss, the podcast designed to help you find your inner entrepreneur. Her Own Boss is created by Anissa, Megan, Ben, Sarah, Nikki, and me, Lucy, as we start our careers and learn from the inspiring women who can help us along the way.
Hi everyone, this is your host Nikki, and I'm back today talking to Sonya Barlow, award-winning founder of LMF Network, TedX speaker, and diversity, equity, and inclusion consultant. In this episode, Sonya teaches us how we can use LinkedIn to help build our personal brands. I found this minisode super helpful and perfect even if you're just starting to use LinkedIn. Be sure to find us, Her Own Boss Podcast, on LinkedIn, and let us know how you're getting on applying Sonya's tips and tricks.
This minisode was sponsored by Barclays Ecolabs. Ecolabs is on a mission to increase the number of female founders in the UK by providing access to the networks, mentors, and co-working spaces needed to help innovators and businesses thrive. Search Barclays Ecolabs to find out more.
Hi again. So we've got you back today to talk a bit more about LinkedIn and personal brand. So we have a minisode out now on personal brand that I recorded with Mary Abasanwa, and she kind of talked us through what it is and how everyone has one if you know it or not, and then how to kind of build that, I guess, more generally. But what we want to talk about specifically today is LinkedIn as a tool for personal brand. So do you want to kind of start us off by giving what your definition of personal brand is and what it means to you?
Yeah, it's such a great question. But I think my version of personal branding is just being able to align your values and define your principles and communicate your goals through a online or offline profile. I think that's basically what personal branding is to me, or at least that's how I try and use my personal brand.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. I think that's a really good way to summarize it. And I guess focusing on the kind of online element, do you think, I guess, that LinkedIn is a good tool for expressing your personal brand? And if so, why?
You know what? Honestly, I love LinkedIn so much that I'm just waiting for them to offer me some kind of brand ambassador gig.
Hopefully someone hears this episode that works for LinkedIn.
I really hope so. I'd love to be one of those LinkedIn ads. I'm so obsessed with it. It's unreal. But yes, to answer your question, I love LinkedIn. Fundamentally, it's because everything we're doing now is kind of B2B or B2C. And I am not only my own business person, I'm running a business, but also I am my own brand. And so it only makes sense to be able to use the largest kind of business tool to define your brand and to create connections, to support your goals, and most importantly, to share all the cool successes and failures that you have going on so that others can see it and they can approach you. Or in my position, they can approach me for gigs, workshops, and anything conversational.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think that point about B2B and B2C, LinkedIn, I think is unique because you do get that direct contact with businesses and with consumers. So, kind of people like us. And I think that's really, really powerful. How would you or how did you go about setting up your personal brand on LinkedIn? Is it, does it happen automatically when you start to put in your information on a LinkedIn profile, or are there, specific and kind of targeted steps you can take to better express your personal brand through LinkedIn?
It's a lot of trialing and testing and figuring out what works for me and what doesn't. I do a lot of coaching on personal brand and LinkedIn creation. I also do a lot of coaching on what it means to even start building your personal brand. And fundamentally, the first thing I always ask, and I'll ask everyone listening, is why do you want a personal brand? Is it for new job? Is it for promotion money? Is it to create community and relationships? Or is it to be seen as a thought leader, as a spokesperson? Or is it just to educate and upskill yourself, right? So fundamentally, you have the four goals. So one is money, promotion, job. The second is friendship, community, kind of relationships. The third is upskilling, education, industry knowledge. And the third is kind of being seen as a thought leader or getting those workshops or gigs. You can only really want 2 or 4 because otherwise you don't have a focus. And so now if your why is covered and you have a focus, then it's, okay, what do you have to offer the other person? Because LinkedIn, or with any personal brand, it's a two-way relationship. It's like dating. You are required to build this two-way relationship, start conversation, carry conversation on, and try and reply back within like 48 to 72 hours, to begin with at least. And then when you start doing it from a perspective of actually building your brand online, then it's okay. So you've got 8 seconds to make an impression. If I go on your profile, what are you telling me about yourself? And that comes a little bit into self-promotion, but it also comes into a little bit to do with kind of values and goal alignment. So if I use myself as an example, if you go onto my LinkedIn, you can clearly see from my header that I have experience in public speaking. You can see from my headline that I have awards behind me, I run a business. And then you can see from my about and summary as to what I'm looking for. If you have 8 seconds to make an impression, why should someone choose you? So those are the first like 3 things that I would say someone should acknowledge as the why. And then it's the, okay, so what am I actually sharing? What do I want someone to know about me? And then it's the, why should someone engage with you? Why should they pick you? Why should they even stay on your profile more than a second?
Yeah, I think that's really, really interesting and a really good point as well, because I think especially for me, when I first made my LinkedIn, my focus was just about getting my experience on there. I thought, you know, when you scroll down further and you've got your education and all of your jobs, I thought that should be the focus. But you're right, you have such a short amount of time to make an impression. You need to start by focusing on that kind of top half. And I guess on LinkedIn, you've got your profile picture, you've got like a cover photo, and then you've got your headline. How can you kind of optimize those? Should they, you know, should you really try and customize them? Do you have any kind of top tips for what should be in your headline, stuff like that?
That's such a great question. And, you know, I'd encourage everyone to connect with me on LinkedIn. And also I do a lot of personal branding via Instagram and Reels, just to have these conversations and to make it really easy. But to fundamentally start off with, let's say we're looking at a LinkedIn profile and you're looking at your own. The first thing you'll see is your picture header. You don't need it to be of you, but you can make it relevant with just the blue background. So let's say you're working in London, you can put a London background. Let's say you're a graphic designer or you're an artist or you're a photographer. Put some artistry up there, put some of your creations up there to let people see. Then your profile picture should be professional, semi-professional. You don't need one in suit and tie, but you definitely don't need a selfie unless you have a selfie company. Then your headline and your heading, if search, should tell me what I need to know about you in a really short amount of time. If you're a graduate and you're looking for a job, tell me, be like, you know, recent graduate from X looking for a job in Y.
Yeah.
If you are looking to transition in careers, tell me. If you are passionate about something, tell me. If you have a side hustle, tell me, so I know exactly who you are, and if you're sending me a connection, or if I'm looking to connect with you, why. And then you go into your about. So what most people don't know is in your about, it's only the first 3 sentences that actually get seen. The rest of it, people have to click through, and most don't. So in 3 sentences, what should I know about you? Don't do it in first person. I always think it's more valuable to do it in third person, because the person reading your profile doesn't know you. And so if you're doing I, you're not associating your name with your success. It just makes it easy for someone to remember you in the long run. And then if you are looking to connect with other people, tell them why you're connecting with them. Don't just send a request. Be like, hey, I am connecting with you because I think you're an industry leader in this industry and I'm interested in learning more. Hey, I've seen a podcast that you were on and I loved what you said. Is it okay if I connect with you to follow you?
Yeah, I think that's great. Those are really, really good tips. And I think the ones, at least for me, that stood out is about that about section. First of all, I didn't know that you only saw the first 3 lines before you have to click more. That's kind of groundbreaking for me. But also you're right about putting your name in rather than doing it in first person, to associate your name with your successes. And that can kind of help build your personal brand. And then I guess aside from what you've got on your profile, how can you kind of leverage the way you interact with other people and the stuff that you share to boost your personal brand?
Yeah, such a great question. So with any social profile, and specifically after talking about LinkedIn, it's not a selfish profile. So you need to, in order for you to engage with the algorithm, you need to engage with other people. So to make it really easy, I would say try and go on LinkedIn at least once a week for 15 minutes. Then be a bit more braver and be like, right, once a week I'm going to go on, I'm going to read, but if I like something, I'm going to like it. And then a couple of weeks later, right, I've watched this great TED Talk. I've seen this podcast. I've listened to this show. I've read this article. I've seen something on BBC News. I'm just going to share it. And all you have to do is, hey, network, I think this might be of interest to you. That's it. Nothing more complicated. But ultimately, you want to make sure it's relevant and clear. Align your content and your posting with what your goal may be or what you think your milestone may be. so that the people around you can both appreciate that content and that education coming from yourselves. But most importantly, you can allow your profile to be boosted in a way which is selfless and connected and allows for a continuous discussion, and you take it from there.
Yeah, I think that's great. And I like the idea of kind of breaking that down into steps, because when I first joined LinkedIn, I was kind of too nervous to comment on things, especially if I didn't, if it wasn't a friend that posted it, it's, more of a colleague or someone in my network. So I think just start small. You can kind of observe from afar, start to like things, comment, and then build yourself up to posting and kind of getting yourself more towards one of those goals you mentioned earlier. So whether it's about, moving jobs or getting a promotion, building your connections, educating, or being a thought leader, I think that's really helpful.
Most people on LinkedIn, most influencers, most thought leaders, they're not born this way. They build up their credibility and it takes time. So when I first started really using LinkedIn, it was Jan 2019. I had 100 connections and I wanted to expand my own community. Today, so 18 months on, I have nearly 11,000. But that's taken time. That's taken me putting effort into the content I post, creating the graphics, talking to people, connecting with others. Also blocking and deleting people that don't necessarily serve that energy and aren't right for you. LinkedIn is a slow and consistent journey. I think if you are an individual who's like, right, I've posted 3 things, I've got no engagement, I'm going to give up, then it's never going to go for you. I did 3 brunches to start with, no one gave up, no one showed up, and now I run a business at the back of it and a charity. So my point being, consistency is key. Being confident in what you're sharing is being key, and then using the insights which are free on LinkedIn to say, hey, did this work? Did this not work? Okay, what do I try? So I'd say you want to have a consistent plan for at least 8 weeks before you have any thoughts of not using the platform again.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think those are all really, really helpful tips. And hearing as well that it doesn't take time, it doesn't, you don't become an influencer overnight is really helpful as well. Do you have any other kind of final tips or closing thoughts on LinkedIn for personal brand?
Yeah, the other thing I would say is use a cheat sheet, meaning if you have an industry expert, if you are setting yourself up for success and you're wanting to be this particular CEO in this particular industry or working with this particular company, go onto their LinkedIn, go onto their website, see what their people are saying, what they're talking about, and align yourself. So I'm not saying copy or mimic, but definitely take inspiration from others and those around you and use that to form your own LinkedIn and to form your own personal brand. And it's not really until the beginning of March when COVID hit that I really focused on my personal brand, and new opportunities came within kind of 6 months of aligning because you worked on it. And so even personal branding is a job. And if you don't have the capacity to put, 100% into it, that's cool. Just schedule some time into your calendar and do it 10 minutes a week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. I like the idea of having a plan and then breaking it down into small parts of your day or your week. Awesome. Thank you so much, Sonya.
No, of course. Thank you so much for having me. And, if anyone is interested in LinkedIn or personal branding, definitely connect with me on LinkedIn afterwards and send me through questions. And I'm always sharing content of this kind to support.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. You can find out more about Her Own Boss at herownboss.co.uk or by searching for us on LinkedIn and Instagram.